Nigeria is reeling in the wake of a string of suicide bombings that killed at least 32 in the northeastern town of Gwoza. Saturday's blasts targeted a wedding, a hospital and a funeral amongst the four sites. All of these places and gatherings where people expect compassion and solidarity. Instead, they were met with violence.
We can't even say how these people got to Gwoza. We don't know how many of them. We don't know why they did all this. With the issue of the insurgency around, we're trying to settle people, taking them back to their places, but unfortunately this incident happened. You see, there's going to be so much fear in people and movements in Gwoza. Not only in Gwoza, even the surroundings.
I have no words. My son is unconscious. I pray that God would grant him a speedy recovery, and to the perpetrators of this heinous act, may God guide them on the right path.
I can't just imagine the pain of losing 5 people at a time. So this is something I can actually not forget, because this has taken me back to memory lane of 2014, when Gwoza was raided by this terrorist group.
Well, no one's yet claimed responsibility for the attacks, some of which involved some female bombers, but there are fears that they mark the return of a grim tactic used by Boko Haram extremists in Borno State in the past. Sam Olokoya tells us more.
It has been several years that Nigeria saw these kinds of highly coordinated suicide bombings. The attacks evoke the frightening feeling that suicide bombers who have been on break for several years may be back again. For many Nigerians, the attacks in Gwoza brought back familiar memories, corpses and various human body parts blown to bits. Nigerians were treated to these chilling images before the suicide bombers took a break years back. Major cities like the capital Abuja, Kaduna, Kano and Maiduguri still bear the scars of suicide bombings. The reign of terror had no limits and no rules. The United Nations building in Abuja, crowded markets, bus stops, mosques, churches, and media houses were among the places targeted. The question Nigerians are asking is whether the evil days of suicide bombings are back again after living under a sense of false security for many years. If so, Nigerians will be living in fear and wondering when the next suicide bomber will strike. It is the first suicide bombing since President Bola Tinubu came to power a little over a year ago. If this marks a resumption of suicide bombings, it will pose a major challenge for a government that has many problems to deal with.